I had a great intern that started with us at the Cowboys. Her name is Brittany, and she worked for us as an intern, worked her tail off. It was just great. And then we had a staff position that opened up just as her internship finished, and we hired her on full time. And she worked for me for about a year and a half in that role, and I was so excited for her because I could see where her career was going. I was really getting excited about, okay, she's been in this job now for about a year and a half. I'm ready to promote her as soon as I've got the opportunity. And before I could do that, she came into my office and she sat down and she said, "I'm leaving." I just got hired by the Barclays Center in Brooklyn to go work for them. She never applied for the job. They came out and they got her. And we had hosted a conference at the stadium, and Brittany was helping me with this group, giving a tour around the building. It was one of the people that was with AEG, which runs the Barclays Center. This is the brand new home of the New York Nets, right? Agree with me on that? Okay. So they met her on this tour, and they thought, this girl's fantastic. She's really good. And that was like a year from the time that they contacted her back. Now they were getting ready to staff up the building. They called her. She was a payroll and scheduling coordinator for me. They called her and they said, "We want to offer you the premium guest services manager job." So they helped her move. They actually tripled her salary in that one step, and she's opening what is now a premier arena in the United States. So I've been out there. It's a fabulous building, and she's a remarkable person. And she is just shot like a rocket. I couldn't be more proud. I hated to lose her. I was so excited for her because I knew she had deserved it. She had really earned it. And what more of an endorsement can you have than them never even posting the job? They came out and they talked to her and they said, "We want you." And they took her. And it was some of these things that I'm going to talk about what made her such a successful intern that parlayed her into a great career. So the first thing is a general work ethic. It's just being ready and willing and able to work, no matter what it is. Be ready to do anything. I know in that job interview, you don't want to say, "I'll do anything." But once you're on and you've got people that say, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" The answer is, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." If your skill set allows it, you don't want to set yourself up for failure, but you want to try to be willing to do anything that you can. Be ready to do anything. The other thing is put your mark on everything that you do. Your work product, big, small, whatever, is a reflection of you. It carries your signature. So how are you going to sign it? Are you going to sign it with excellence, or are you going to sign it with mediocrity? Somebody says, "Do a spreadsheet," and you do a spreadsheet of it because you know how to use Excel and all of that. But here's a little fine point. Did you format it for printing? So when it clicks the print button, it's going to print right, just the way you want it to. So if you take tasks like that for those little details, and you sign your work that way, and somebody looks at a spreadsheet and says, "Wow, this is really great. It's formatted. It looks great. It's very clear." And they click print, and it's got headers, and it's got a footer, and all that thing, and it looks great. They don't have to do anything to it. That's your signature. That's your reputation right there. There is really no small task when you're an intern or when you're starting your career. Even the most mundane task can be a proving ground for you. One of the things that we have to do in my operation is we have a lot of equipment inventory and uniforms. And it's not a glorious job, but we've got a big uniform room, and we have to handle thousands and thousands of dollars worth of uniform inventory. We have to order equipment and supplies, and we have to have it on site just in time for the games and the different events where we're going to use those supplies. So we have to have a system for coordinating all of that stuff. And one of the things I make sure is that our interns get knee-deep in that stuff, not because it's a grungy kind of task-heavy job, but it's because they need to understand what inventory management is all about. Because they may encounter it in this job or in this career or somewhere else, but they have to understand. They have to understand what it is to work with vendors and call them and get pricing, and understand what shipping costs are, and understand what kind of backstock do we need to keep. So there's all these different elements to this one task of not just keeping the uniform room clean and tidy and restocked, but you can learn a whole cascade of different tasks and capabilities through that. We always ask them, okay, we're giving you this task, and here may be the operations plan. This may be the standard operating procedure, the way that we do it. And this is what you're given today, but it doesn't mean this is the way you have to be doing it at the end of the month. We want you to help us refine that process. So that's an example of a mundane task being something where it can be a real proving ground. The other thing about being an intern is to manage your expectations. And this is going to sound pretty trite, but to feel grateful all the time. And it's going to be tough because really, if you really are committed to an industry, to a career, this internship is going to be key to you. And there are going to be days in which you're not happy. You might not be treated well by others in your organization. Try not to take it personally. It's really a failing on them if they don't treat you well. And it tells you a little bit about their organization as well. But kind of buck up and be grateful for the opportunity to be there, even if it's less than ideal. Because you can, again, your perseverance, your ability to stick with it is going to speak volumes rather than giving up just because it wasn't convenient for you or was uncomfortable for you. I think I'm a strong believer that unless there's some, really horrible situation, that in your first jobs in your industry, you should be in that position for at least 2 years. I don't think that anybody really understands a job or really taps its full potential unless you've been in it for at least a couple of years. Looking for an opportunity to build your portfolio. And you should be thinking about that today with this coursework that you're doing. Do you have, if I said, anybody wants to meet with me and try to get an internship, 10 minutes after this talk, I'll be out in the lobby, show me some of your work. You know, if you don't have anything you can show as an example of yours, start working on that now. Start thinking about how you can take examples from your schoolwork, your coursework, and let that be an example of your quality, of your capabilities, of your skills and your abilities. And it can either be legitimate coursework that was assigned to you, or it can be theoretical work. But it can be one of those things where you just do it on your own, and it becomes yours, and it becomes an example of what you're capable of. And that can be very impressive. That can show a lot of initiative, creativity, commitment to the industry that you're going toward, and the idea that, hey, this is somebody that really, thinks in a different way than others do. And then lastly, I'm going to close my comments with this, is that when given the opportunity, raise your hand. Raise your hand. If somebody says, will somebody do this? Say, yes, I will. Raise your hand. My career, where I'm at right now, I'm having the time of my life. I love what I get to do. I know I'm not done yet. There are a lot more things that I want to achieve in my career and things that I want to challenge myself with. I'm involved in a lot of things, probably more than my wife and my daughter would prefer that I'm involved in, because it takes a lot of my time. But it's because I said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll help out. And I don't know what doors are going to open. I know in the past, sometimes when I've said, yeah, I'll do that, it's opened some pretty interesting doors for me. So when you get the opportunity, raise your hand. And look for and work for opportunities to distinguish yourselves.